Look, not every team can win the Super Bowl. I mean, I think that's kinda obvious. And whether you want to hear it or not, there's probably a pretty big reason that your favorite team isn't gonna win it this year. It's that time, folks. The leaves are changing colors, pumpkin spice lattes are back in full swing, and a new NFL season is upon us. Every year we offer one obvious reason why your team won't win the Super Bowl. And hey, we're right when it comes to 31 of the 32 teams. Only one of these teams will make us look foolish come mid-February. So without further ado, let's break down one obvious reason why your favorite NFL squad won't hoist the Lombardi Trophy this year.
All by himself. Look at that. And he turns it up the field.
Look at
Touchdown,
that.
Jacksonville.
Arizona Cardinals, the Super Bowl is in the second half. In each of the last 2 years, the Redbirds looked like a bona fide Super Bowl contender in the first half of the season. Then they inexplicably collapse in the second half. Unfortunately for the Cards, the Super Bowl isn't awarded in the first half of the season. And Cliff Kingsbury's track record in the second half, going back to his days at Texas Tech, are all we need to see. At least Arizona gets to host Super Bowl 57, even if they're not playing in it. Atlanta Falcons. They don't want to win. The Falcons won't admit it, but this is a tank job. They gave away Matt Ryan for a third-round pick to Indianapolis and made zero notable moves in free agency. Not that we hate this plan. The 2023 draft class is absolutely stacked with quarterbacks. Getting CJ Stroud or Bryce Young for the simple price of one bad year? That would be a stroke of genius for this franchise. Baltimore Ravens, the injury bug. Injuries derailed the Ravens' 2021 season. We are already concerned it could happen again in 2022. Marcus Peters is 29 and coming off a torn ACL. Lamar Jackson battled ankle issues last year. Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins both missed the entire 2021 season with ACL tears, and Edwards is on the PUP list to begin this year, as is standout linebacker Tyus Bowser. And star offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley is dealing with ankle injuries of his own. Buffalo Bills, always on the wrong side of luck. What can we say? No matter how good the Bills are, they have a very sad history of being on the wrong side of bounces. Think of Scott Norwood's wide right kick, or the Music City Miracle, or the coin toss against Kansas City last year. Some teams are just always snake-bitten. Carolina Panthers, the offensive line. Well, Baker Mayfield at least gives Carolina some hope from the quarterback position, but even if Baker plays well, are we sure Carolina can make a run this year? Not with that offensive line. Sure, they drafted Ike Mekwonu and signed Austin Corbett and Bradley Bozeman in free agency, but asking Ekwonu to play like a superstar as a rookie is a lot. And Corbett and Bozeman are barely above average starters. If this O-line doesn't make significant progress in 2022, these Panthers won't be much better than the 2021 group. Chicago Bears. Justin Fields can't do it alone. Even if Justin Fields breaks out in year 2, the Bears simply have not provided much help around him. The defense will be worse without Khalil Mack, and Robert Quinn isn't repeating last year's 18.5 sack season. Darnell Mooney and David Montgomery are Fields' only proven playmaking weapons, and the O-line is in shambles. How can you realistically expect Fields to mask all of those roster flaws? Cincinnati Bengals, the Super Bowl hangover. Losing in the Super Bowl is always heartbreaking to begin with. It sucks, especially when you look at the history of how teams who lost the big game have fared the next year. Just look at some recent examples. The 2019 Rams missed the playoffs. The 2020 49ers finished last in their division. And the 2021 Chiefs choked at home in the AFC title game to the Bengals. Good luck bucking the trend, Cincy. Cleveland Browns, the failed Deshaun Watson gamble. The Browns risked everything and took on the negative PR backlash by trading for Deshaun Watson, and now he's suspended for the first 11 games. They're not winning a Super Bowl with Jacoby Brissett. They should have traded for Jimmy Garoppolo or just kept Baker Mayfield. What can we say? The Browns are wasting another prime season of Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb in 2022. Dallas Cowboys. They got worse. The Cowboys won 12 games last year, and yet they still couldn't win a playoff game. Good luck winning a Super Bowl with Amari Cooper, Cedric Wilson Jr., Connor Williams, Lael Collins, and Randy Gregory all gone. If that wasn't painful enough, All-Pro offensive tackle Tyron Smith is out until at least December. Tough to see this team winning a Super Bowl after getting significantly worse this offseason. Denver Broncos, the Kansas City roadblock. The Broncos are contenders now with Russell Wilson fronting the offense. The main concern? The Kansas City Chiefs roadblock. Denver hasn't beaten their arch rivals since week 2 of the 2015 season. Patrick Mahomes had his way with their defense, and the Chiefs should still be considered the team to beat in the AFC West. You gotta beat the man to be the man, Denver, so show us how it's done. Detroit Lions, the secondary. Many think the Lions are a dark horse playoff contender for 2022. But we're not buying it. Not with that defense, especially the secondary. Aiden Hutchinson will provide some power on the defensive line, but who's gonna stop the opposition's top receivers? Even if 2023 overall pick Jeff Okudah breaks out, and it's a big if, there's not much behind him on that depth chart. The D is a work in progress, and the Lions aren't at all ready for prime time. Green Bay Packers. Farewell, Davante Adams. The Packers didn't even reach a Super Bowl with the league's best pass-catching duo in Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. Now what? They're somehow going to be better on offense and actually win a Super Bowl without the game's best receiver? Good luck, A-Rod. You're gonna need it. Houston Texans, the defense. The Texans are rightfully taking the patient approach in their rebuild. Third overall pick Derek Stingley Jr. has future All-Pro written all over him, but there isn't much to offer in the secondary outside of that. Also, the Texans have, quite frankly, the worst linebacking core in the league. Jonathan Grenard is the only impactful pass rusher on that D-line too. Sorry, but no way Houston completes a Cinderella story with that D. Indianapolis Colts, leaky secondary. The Colts completed their main offseason goal of finding a quarterback upgrade, swapping out Carson Wentz for Matt Ryan. Very good. But who exactly are your corners to match up against all those big-time wideouts in the AFC? Indy was a mediocre 19th against the pass last year. Young corner Rock Ya-Sin was traded for Yannick Ngakoue. Free agent pickup Stephon Gilmore is 32 and coming off another injury-prone year. Don't count on him being a Pro Bowler again. If Indy's secondary doesn't improve in 2022, they are not going to go far in the playoffs, let alone win a Super Bowl. Jacksonville Jaguars, rebuilding defense. We wouldn't be shocked if Doug Peterson made Trevor Lawrence a superstar in year 2, but the Jaguars defense is still a giant work in progress, and there is no way this unit catapults them to an unexpected Super Bowl 57 title. There's just too many holes in the secondary. Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen make up an exciting pair in the front seven, but there really isn't much else after that. So stay patient, Jaguars fans. 2022 isn't your year just yet. Kansas City Chiefs, gauntlet of a schedule. The Chiefs' 2022 strength of schedule is tied for the 5th hardest. But just look at their first 8 games. Absolutely 0 gimme victories. A 3-5 or 4-4 start could push them out of the race for the top seed, or maybe the division, or even the playoffs altogether. Las Vegas Raiders, the secondary. The Raiders D went from awful in 2020 to not quite awful in 2021, but it was still very good, folks. Adding Chandler Jones in free agency bolsters the pass rush, no doubt, but the Raiders simply lack the necessary cornerbacks to match up with all those dangerous pass catchers, especially in the AFC West. The offense will be prolific with Davante Adams now in the fold, but do you really see them going all the way with that secondary? Los Angeles Chargers. They always choke. Do we really need to explain this one? No matter how stacked the Chargers are, they always find a way to blow it. Same thing last year. 9 wins wasn't enough to get into the postseason. They have a loaded roster on paper, but so did the Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson-led Chargers some years ago. So, just saying. Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford's arm. The only legitimate concern about the Rams' quest to repeat is the status of Matthew Stafford's arm. LA star QB is dealing with elbow tendonitis, and the Rams aren't saying a whole lot. What if this injury hampers Stafford throughout 2022? He attempts far more passes than the average QB and relies on that slick release and deep ball. If he's the slightest bit injured, the Rams' offense won't function the same, and thus their repeat bid becomes that much harder. Miami Dolphins. It's not Tua time. Yes, Miami rebuilt the offense around Tua, namely by landing Tyreek Hill and signing Terron Armstead. But I don't know, folks. We still have a tough time buying the former Bama star. His accuracy and decision-making have left a lot to be desired, and Miami needs high-level play from their quarterback to have a chance in the stacked AFC. So unless Tua makes the jump to superstardom in 2022, don't count on the Dolphins' Super Bowl drought ending this year. But hey, maybe Tom Brady will be available in 2023 free agency. Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins. Sorry to be harsh, but Cousins is quite frankly this era's Tony Romo. Superb stats on paper, elite talent around him, but after a while, you gotta accept the fact that some quarterbacks just don't have what it takes to win a championship. New England Patriots. Matt Patricia is calling the offense. Look, we love Bill Belichick and admire his genius, but why in the world would you bring back Matt Patricia to run your offense and with the assistance of Joe Judge of all people? Patricia was a train wreck in Detroit. His experience is from the defensive side of the ball. And now Belichick is asking him to replace Josh McDaniels? No wonder the Patriots offense looked awful in training camp and preseason. New Orleans Saints. The refs won't let them. The no call, the non-Kyle Rudolph push-off call, the atrocious roughing the passer call on Caden Ellis against Ryan Tannehill last year. Yeah, the refs just don't like seeing New Orleans win. Haven't y'all figured it out by now? New York Giants. Worst starting QB in the league. Daniel Jones is one of the worst, if not the worst, starting QB in the league right now. Honestly, toss up between him and Geno Smith, really. With 29 interceptions and 36 fumbles in 38 career games, it's pretty clear to us that Jones isn't it. New York Jets. Zach Wilson isn't ready. The Jets are in year 2 of a long-term rebuild. Zach Wilson had a few flashes as a rookie, but it's clear that the BYU product has a long way to go. A rebuilt supporting cast will help Wilson improve after a tough rookie year, but not by much. And until Wilson becomes a superstar quarterback, you can't expect the Jets to seriously contend. Philadelphia Eagles. Dream Team 2.0? This offseason, the Eagles have brought in A.J. Brown, Jordan Davis, Hassan Reddick, Nakobe Dean, James Bradbury, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Shades of 2011, if you will. You know, the year when Vince Young called the Eagles the Dream Team. Last time Philly put together an all-star team like this, they went 8-8 and missed the playoffs. Maybe the sky-high expectations and non-stop raving about their talent will prove to be too much. Pittsburgh Steelers, the QB room. We keep saying that Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett will serve as upgrades over last year's version of Ben Roethlisberger. But even then, asking either of them to take Pittsburgh to the promised land is a bit much. Trubisky is on his 3rd team in as many years for a reason. Pickett may need a year or 2 to fully master an NFL offense. Look, Pittsburgh has the talent to compete for a playoff spot, but you can't trust Trubisky or Pickett against an elite QB like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen in January football. San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan will find a way to blow it. Shanahan was the OC of the Falcons team that blew a 25-point lead in Super Bowl 51. He was the head coach of the 49ers team that blew a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter of Super Bowl 54. And his 49ers blew a 10-point lead to the Rams in last season's NFC Championship game. Moral of the story, no matter how stacked Shanahan's teams are, they always find a way to blow it when it matters the most. Seattle Seahawks. No more Russell Wilson. Wilson single-handedly kept Seattle in playoff contention from 2017 to 2020. Now he's gone, and they're asking Geno Smith or Drew Lock to replace his talents. Even with Wilson, Seattle couldn't get past the divisional round between 2015 and 2021. Don't even think for a second that they'll make a run at the Super Bowl without Russ. Please, just don't. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, racking up the air miles. As cleverly outlined by CBS's John Breach, the Bucs will be traveling a whopping 26,562 miles next season. That, of course, features a game against Seattle in Germany and trips to San Francisco and Arizona. Not ideal for one of the league's oldest rosters with a 45-year-old QB and an O-line put together by duct tape. While that traveling could very well take a major toll on the aging Bucs roster. Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill isn't money. Tannehill's last 2 postseason games were stinkers, to say the very least. Even those 2 playoff wins in 2019 were mostly thanks to Derrick Henry and the defense. To us, Tannehill just doesn't have what it takes to take over a big game. When the game is in his hands, he flops. His last 2 playoff appearances are evidence of that. Washington Commanders. Carson Wentz ain't it. Sorry to Wentz, but we don't see how he wins a Super Bowl in Washington when he couldn't even make the playoffs on a stacked Colts team. Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, and the Washington D could keep them in contention for a playoff spot, but Wentz winning a Super Bowl in DC? Not a chance. But who do you think will play in Super Bowl 57? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.